Next order of business are the committee elections. We're going to start out with your yellow ballot for the election of Ethics Committee. You're voting for no more than 4. Just so you know, under the new rules, you don't have to be president of convention to be voted into a committee. So we may not have all the names present.
And I think they need to be properly retired in order to be elected.
Defined properly.
Region 1, we don't need to vote, they're automatically on.
That's why it's supposed to not vote.
So we just vote for 3?
No, 4.
4, not counting.
Here. All right.
4 not counting Region 1.
Right.
You got heard one, too.
Do not, it says, do not vote for none.
You can vote for up to 4 individuals.
He's already on.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. When your ballot is completed, please bring it to the center aisle to be collected by the RVPs.
To the center aisle. You guys copy off?
We did not, however.
Has anyone not cast a ballot at this point? Next order of business is election of Members' Rights Committee. That'll be your light green ballot. I'd like to remind you, if anyone was missing an official ballot and was using the blank white ballot, that you must fill in your region, your chapter, your voting strength, all that information in the form has to be filled in. For members' rights, would all those folks that are present and and listed on the screens, please come to the front of the room. Please present yourself in order of the numbers on the screen.
You're last. Don't shoot. We come in
Do the
peace.
math.
I gotta get in here, so.
So these are your candidates for members' rights in proper order. We're voting for no more than 3 on this ballot.
Turn to your right. That's the other one. Cough? No. Let's not go there.
Okay, everybody had a good look? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As before, please pass your completed ballots for the RVPs to collect. Mr. Davis, I see your file of ballots.
Oh. That wasn't my side, but I'll take it.
And the next one, too.
We got one.
Okay, the next order of business is the election of the nominating committee. That is a light blue ballot. I'm going to ask those folks that are present on the screen, please come to the front of the room in the proper order.
Mr. Brady is not here.
That's okay, you don't have to be present to win.
Did we get a consent to serve?
On here, you're voting for no more than 5. Again, I'll remind you, if you're using a white blank ballot, please make sure all of your information is filled in at the bottom regarding your chapter, etc.
You all space yourself so well.
Don't smile. Don't smile, this is serious business. Serious business.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Music scales. Everybody kept trying to read the music out of it.
Next order of business is the election of the membership application review. That's on the pink ballot. On this ballot, you're voting for no more than 3.
Mike, you need to be over you need to be over that.
Oh, it's ordinary.
People get confused. I know you're confused, but we
Trying to
are.
get in there and fit it. All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Good deal. Yeah.
Would the following individuals shown on the screen that are present please come to the front of the room and stand in the proper order? This should be your last official ballot in your packet. It is salmon colored. And we're voting for no more than 3.
I assume you were a white.
Right here.
Lucky guess.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I vote for him.
Yeah, careful, we'll put you on a committee.
vote for vice president? Melanie is running for vice president.
Okay, if I could have your kind attention for a moment, I have a few brief announcements to make before we continue with the agenda. I wanted to announce the dates for the Midwest Regional Conference that will be held in Kansas City, and that will be on September 24 through 27 in the year 2020. So save the date. Again, that is September 24th through the 27th of next year in Kansas City.
Over in front.
The URL is midwestptg.com. Okay, a few announcements. Tickets are still available for the Thursday tour to Mount Lemon and the Arizona State Museum. The cost is $148 per person and will be available until 5 p.m. today at the PTG registration desk. That's the Thursday tour to Mount Lemon and the Arizona State Museum. Second item, tickets are still available for the Saturday Golden Hammer Banquet. Cost is $49 per person and will be available through noon tomorrow at the PTG registration desk. Third announcement, you can pick up a complimentary ticket to the Friday Leadership Luncheon until noon Wednesday. Again, at the PTG registration desk. All chapter officers and PTG committee members are invited to attend. If you haven't already done so, please check out the convention web app for your phone, ptg.org/web app, as one word, WEBAPP. Again, that address is ptg.org/web app. You can build your own schedule, search by subject, by skill level, by instructor, and day and period, and fill out class reviews on the app as well. So if you haven't downloaded that, please do so. It's well organized and very convenient. Next item, you can text tuner to 41411 to keep up with what's happening at the convention, with the class, and schedule updates, announcements, and event reminders. So you text tuner to 41411. You can buy souvenir convention pins in the PTG store during the exhibit hall hours. Thank you for your attention, and at this time, I'm going to direct your attention to Mark Poulin for the 2018 budget report.
Everyone's favorite thing, numbers. So let me start off by thanking Barb and especially Jason Hensley. He doesn't get much recognition because he hides in his hole and deals with numbers and receipts. And he's kind of the bane of committee chairs and committee members when they do their forms, but he definitely doesn't get enough thanks. So definite mention to Jason and Barb taking care of everything. So the report we're looking at is the annual budget report, which is on page 637 in your books. So when it comes for any question and answer time, on the left-hand side, there's the line items. When we're talking about something specific, please note which line we're talking about so we're all on the same page here. So I'm just going to kind of go through the ones that jump out. We're going to be dealing with column O and P, which was the 2018 revised and the 2018 actual. So and Chris has it up on the board, and we'll follow along kind of as we move. So it was already brought up yesterday, lines 5 and 6, the RPT dues and associate dues were a little bit down from what we were budgeted for, but it is what it is. That's kind of a guesswork when it comes to budgeting, and it came in a little below. But an item of note at that same time is line item 8, the application fees were essentially double what was budgeted for, so that shows a very strong interest in membership, that we had double the people applying for membership than we really planned on. So it's kind of strange that we see it that way, but hopefully that trend continues. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to go through the spots of note, and then afterwards, if you have any questions, you bring those to the microphones. We're now going to go to line number 40 when it came to convention income. It was actually about $13,000 higher than budgeted for, so again, it showed a strong interest in our convention, which was rather nice. The convention income as a whole, down to line 48, we did considerably better than was budgeted for income-wise, to the tune of about $30,000. So we were very happy to see that. And then just as another item of note, line 53, budgeted was $214,000, all said and done for our total education certification income, $258,000. So a gain of 40,000-ish or so. It's rather impressive that our educational offerings are very strong, and people are showing a strong interest in that. So I'm very, very happy with that. One thing that we talked about at our mid-year when we were looking at these numbers as well was line 57. We kind of lost our shirts investment-wise, but anyone who watches the news sees what the stock market was doing back over the last year. And that's the chance you take when you end up playing in the stock market. And going down to line 77, we spent quite a bit more on our building, but it needed a bunch of upkeep. One of the big things that came to mind was that behind the building, the tree line had been encroaching closer and closer and closer to the property. It was causing some issues with the air conditioning equipment, as well as some potential building rot. So a company was brought in to clear back the tree line and get some light and air circulation into the building. And tree services are expensive. And Barb, any other commentary on what those maintenance that was done? I remember that was a big one.
We did have some painting done, the outside of the building, the door frames and doors needed to be painted again. They had been done since we moved in there in 2003. It really was more a bunch of little stuff that all happened to come at the same time. It also increased because of the purchase of the property. Time's up.
This time.
Thanks, Michael.
Purchase of the property next door and the maintenance, mowing and stuff that had to be done with it. But it was more a matter of little things that all you do at the same time.
So Mr. Adams wanted me to mention the stock market's been doing much better since, so our numbers are looking a lot better at this point. So hopefully it just continues that way. So line item 91, our legal fees weren't quite double what we budgeted for, but based on a lot of things that are going on, that's pretty obvious why it is that way. We are continuing to ask for more legal opinions for multiple subjects, and lawyers are not cheap. Line 126, board membership development. So the board is, that line item is for essentially the chapter visits and the board going around and doing its job, meeting with whoever is asking us to meet with, but that is mostly the chapter visits. Our board members are very frugal when it comes to their visits, and this line item shows that they use just over half of what was budgeted. We are being very careful with the money. Many of the RDPs schedule their chapter meetings all in one large trip, so it saves a lot on the rental fees because they're going from place to place to place, staying with members versus hotels, and trying to get the most bang for the buck. So they're doing a fantastic job with that. So organizational expenses, line 154, that was, we budgeted 30,000 and ended up spending 45. Quite a bit of that comes back to this long-range planning process. We were brought in a number of days early for that process, and I do believe that's where the consultant fees were put into the budget. So it was about $15,000 all said and done for this long-range planning process. And that is going to continue over the next couple of years. And is that already paid for, our continuation of them?
To a certain degree. The part of what iBoswell will do for us is they have a software program that they will feed all of this long-range planning information into, and then we'll be able to go in there and basically check off things that have been done to make sure that we're on schedule as this process goes along. So the bulk of the expense is going to end by the end of this year. And then after that, it may just be some minor stuff as we use them to help us tweak the plan as we go along. But the majority of it will be in by the end of this year.
Thank you. So the big item, we already talked about this yesterday, is line item 166. When it's all said and done, we had a loss for the year of approximately $82,000. You got to spend money to make money. We've been getting a lot of pressure to do different programs and moving the organization forward. So we have spent money to make money, plus with the stock market. This trend hopefully will not continue, but we are trying to get some business done, and it's going to cost us a little money to do so. When you flip to the last little bit, line item 168 is always information people are asking for. We are not a dues-driven organization. We sell products, we have conventions, so on and so forth, that we make a profit on. If we were indeed doing business just by dues alone for this last year, it would have been $405 for the year for dues. So that is eye-opening to a lot of people, how we make money in other ways. So those were kind of the high points that really jumped out. So at this point, do we have questions? Mr. Smith.
Two questions unrelated. First has to do with the application fee. I know we had been at $150 for a long time, and then we lowered it to $50. I believe, in my opinion, is that was a mistake. I think we should have left it at $150. People joining for the first time don't know what the application fee was or is. And if they weren't interested in joining, they would have paid what they did. And basically, if we had continued to charge $150, we might have lost a few, but we would have tripled the application fee figure, which would have added greatly to our bottom line. Okay. So, my opinion, I know I can't make a motion, but I wish the board would go back and charge $150 for the application fee. Now, I know, is there going to be a discussion later on about that dues reduction for first year and all that stuff? Is that on the agenda?
It's not on the agenda at this point, no. But if you ever have questions or concerns like that, or want to see something brought forward for board discussion, talk to your RVP.
Okay, the second item I brought up yesterday about the reserve that we put into our budget, that we are supposed to put 2% in. And Barb mentioned that we should have at least a year's worth of reserves in order to, for safety purposes. I totally agree with that. But does it have to be a specific line item in reserve? I mean, we've got $3 million in assets. That's 3 times our budget. I don't believe we need to continue contributing to the reserve budget, reserve fund, because we have quite a bit of money in both real assets and cash in the bank. So somehow I'd like to make that known, that we eliminate that budget line item. Okay?
That is being discussed. It's just a matter of coming to agreement on when that threshold will be.
Larry Messerly, West Monaya chapter. Based on my experience with another board and an organization, my question is, how many people on this board can ask the attorney for legal advice?
Individually, we cannot.
I'm always that middleman,
Edmund Morosi, our chapter. So I think I'm confused because didn't we get more money from new members in the budget?
Yes, we did.
From applications anyways.
From applications, so lowering the fee about more money in.
Correct. Yeah, well, when we raise the fee, we'll have more money.
No.
Paul Raymond from the Valley. I'd like to speak a little bit on the liquid assets.
Could you hold on for just a second, Paul? Yeah, continue.
Our HOA recently had a oops at our clubhouse. The roof cost us $280,000 to fix. It's really important that we keep liquid money available for things like that. So I would suggest that we continue to put into the reserves.
One thing I wanted to say was several years ago when the application fee was higher, it was increased to $150. It was done because the thought was we lose so many of those associates the first year that if they had to pay a higher entry or application fee that they may stay. Well, we didn't find that to be the case. In fact, 80% of new members will renew that first year after. If we lose them, we lose them like year 3 or 4. So the application fee we found made no difference at all. And it's going to certainly help as we go forward, trying to get new members in. If we can tell them it costs $50 as opposed to $150, the idea is to get them in and then show them what we have to offer. And as far as the reserve funds are concerned, that money is put into money market accounts. That was not money that was invested in the stock market. Most of the funds we have are in interest-bearing accounts in different banks. They're all FDIC insured. The Edward Jones account money came from excess operating funds. So each year, as we showed a profit, that money is put into an account that can be used in the future without having to touch the reserve funds, which is how we can do the things we want to do now as far as the long-range plan is concerned, because it is going to cost, it's going to cost a good chunk of money to do all of the projects that we want to do, but we're doing them with the idea that it'll pay back in the end. So those excess operating funds is what's going to come into play now, not the emergency reserves.
Part of the,
Possible check. Just what is, it may have been in there, but I didn't see the line. What is the amount that we have of excess operating funds currently, please?
so while Barb's looking for that information, just, we're talking about the bylaws restructuring. We changed the term. It always been emergency reserve fund, and that's kind of a double name. If it's a reserve fund and we're tapping into it, it's probably for some kind of emergency, a defined emergency. So now it's just a reserve fund because I like things to be concise and it only makes sense.
Okay, so if you look on page 607, you'll see cash and cash equivalents, investments, which are board designated cash funds, and then the mutual funds. The cash and cash equivalents, 982,000 is the excess operating funds, and the 827,000 is the reserve account.
Crickets. Mr. Cousins. Good morning.
Jerry Cousins, Philadelphia. Question is, can you address or discuss the reason for the 2017 among the chapter member benefits? Which I'm not sure if I'm missing yours.
Which line are you
I don't have the line numbers. It's under the chapter members.
on? Chapter and member services, income or otherwise?
Let me see, where is this? I've got a different page number.
Page 640.
Thank you. Anyway, the chapter and member benefits went down from $25,000 in 17 to $19,000 and change in 18. I'm just curious, is that from membership decline? Is that from purposeful? You can just clarify a little bit more.
What is the line title?
Membership 129.
Line 129.
Chapter
Okay, it shows 2017 is 25,548, 2018 revised is 25,000, and 2018 actual is 21,600. So, I guess I don't understand your
Well,
question.
it's going, the chapter and member benefits are going down.
Expense, how much we
Expense, yes.
we spent on it, we're budgeting the same thing, it went down just a little bit, because
Okay.
that's a big item,
Yeah.
and if a lot of the materials don't have to be purchased, we still have some in stock, it brings that down.
Okay.
It's just a lot of little things go into that, so.
Thank you.
Also, we had hoped to start the membership campaign last year, and because of long-range planning, held off on it. So there was some extra built in as far as the budget.
that? Okay, thank you.
Questions, comments?
No question, a very good comment. Thank you, board and Barb, for making us financially stable. Thank you for all your hard work.
Okay, at this point, we are awaiting the results from our tellers for the standing committee elections. And after we announce those results, then we're going to have our PowerPoint presentation by our newly elected Secretary Treasurer Jim Ferris on IAPDT. So while we wait for the results, we're going to take a 15-minute recess, and we'll meet back here in 15 minutes. skip to the IAPBT presentation. So here's your new Secretary Treasurer, Jim Ferris.
Thank you. So you too can get up here and get in front of this thing. So anybody recognize this symbol? Yes. Oh, look at that. I don't know. The first time when I joined and PTG, and I was just looking for any organization that I could get logos from, and and I found this IAPBT, and I go, what is that thing? And I looked, and it's, well, we're part of the PTG. So let me see if my $2.99 app is working, and it's not. So it is the International Association of Piano Builders and Technicians. What it is a group, let's go ahead and move there. It was organized, as you can see, in 1979, between Japan and the United States, saying, let's get together, let's try to make an organization from international groups. And it started with that, and it moved into 8-member organizations. The purpose has a nice general thing there to make a non-political alliance between these organizations. And the objectives is the exchange of technical information. What is the piano commonality we have with Asia, with Europe, and the other countries. So we just had, let me show you who the member organizations are. And also we're going to test, being the typical Americans that we are, how good we are with flags. So these are the member organizations, and then we're going to go into some specifics there. So the first one there is the Australasians, and you can see they've got 250 members in their organization. And I want to mention that we've been working, we the board, have been working trying to get a closer relationship specifically with Australia, and whether we can recognize their test, which they call the ARPT, and our test, the RPT. And it turns out they are very similar in tests, so we're looking at how we can almost become, if you will, one organization between the two, and I think we're getting awfully close to doing that. The next group there is the Chinese one that we've heard so much recently, 7,200 members. When the Chinese president talked, he said that they estimate there are 78 million pianos in China. They are producing 400,000 pianos a year. And so they said, we need training. That was the one thing they were coming out for, because they have so many technicians, so many pianos, and as mentioned, they're the ones that are growing. Everyone else is either flatlined or going down a little bit. Who else do we have? Europiano. Europiano is made up of 18 member countries, and we're going to show you who all those countries are. You can see 2,500 people. Japan, who was the one that hosted the conference that we had back in May, with 2,400. Now, being the small size of Japan, but of course the home of Kawai and Yamaha, and they're really producing out the technicians. Korea. The South Koreans, they just love to participate. Now it says 700 members, but wherever we were, there were the South Koreans. Just a great group of people. We were representing Paul Adams and myself for the Piano Technicians Guild. And the South African organization, now look at that, 15 people. So there's actually certainly more than 15 in South Africa. They are a member of IAPBT, but they've never been involved. And so we've just recently been able to reach out to a couple of the members. My understanding is that they're really disorganized, and this is just a group that has started. They're the ones that have joined the IAPBT. And then the last one down there is the Taiwan. That's 600 people. So I want to focus in a little bit on the Euro folks. And here's the one where I wanted to say, we're going to start off easy. Obviously, the UK. So we've got the actual names on it. The Pianoforte Tuners Association, PTA, not to confuse with the PTA we're used to. And they have another organization that's grouped with it, but they actually do have their Association of Blind Tuners, a group where we have our accessibility division. How about this flag?
Spain, boy, you know, if I didn't have my notes, I wouldn't know what some of these were there. But you can see there's the actual name written there in Spanish, and then some of them are fairly easy to translate and go in there. Others, hopefully you'll bear with me if I didn't get the translation quite right. All right, so is anyone able to say that in Italian? Thank you. So the Italian. How about these guys? Oh, that's way too easy. That's way too easy. Yeah. You know. Ooh. I'm thinking Costa Rica. Yeah, not so easy now, is it? Czech Republic. Yes. All right, what do we got here? Sweden. Was that Sweden? I heard Sweden. It's the Danish. Okay. Lithuania? Let's take a look. Estonia. Oh, that's a trick line. That's yeah. All right, France. And the interesting one is they literally are European France. That's how they call themselves there. What was that? Austria. Now we're into Norway there. Someone hit it. Look at that. So that's the easy one. There we go. There's the Swiss. Poland. Excellent. Okay, only a couple more here.
Finland?
Greek? Is that what?
Finland.
Finland. Okay, I want to hear how that's pronounced. No, I'm not going to give that one a go. All right, let's take a look there. And there's the Sweden.
Holland.
What was it?
Holland.
Holland, the Netherlands.
Vereniging voor Pianotechnici Nederland.
Let's have you come up to the mic and say
No.
this. You're not going to do that? All right. Now, part of the Netherlands is this group. If you hit Belgium. So they actually are members of the Netherlands. And this is the last one. And I heard it earlier. Say it again.
Latvia?
Lithuania. Now, here's the funny one. If you were to put that through the Google Translator, this is what you would get. All right, so let's talk about the convention. This was the 21st. The conventions are held every other year. So 2 years ago, we, the PTG, hosted the IAPBD. It was in San Luis. So you can think of it, we had our convention, this was the San Luis convention, and a little bit over here is IAPBT. And so we had all these international members come over, and there was a board meeting that was held, and they brought their technicians over and were able to participate. This was an interesting one in Japan, and I should mention, we had Paul Brown was unable to attend as president, who's the one who should be attending these. So Paul Adams, as vice president, represented us as president at the meeting. Barbara was going to go as well because the PTG is the home office, as you will, for the IAPBT. Namely, we have a website. We're holding the documentation. There has to be some stability in this. And so that's why Barbara was going to go. She was unable to attend, so we asked Mark Poulin if he would be able to go. That didn't work out. So they got stuck, and they said, well, I guess Jim has to go. So I got to go. So the two of us went. And as you can see, it's in Hamamatsu, Japan, which is where Kawai and the Yamahas are made. They, instead of having a convention, the Japan convention, a little bit of IAPBT, this was all IAPBT. They just really got into it, had all the ceremonies. And the gentleman on your right is the president of the Japan Association and also the president of IAPBT. So I want to say how the structure works is that 2 years ago, it was in the United States, Every other year is when they hold the meeting. So the next one is in Asia somewhere, and then 2 years later it'll be in Europe. So it cycles around like that. So this one was in Japan, and then whoever is president of IAPBT, they have their own board. It's whatever convention is coming up. So the next convention is going to be in Warsaw, Poland. So the president of Europiano is now the president of IAPBT. So here we have the convention, and I want to show you, this was the board meeting that we had. And you can see in the back some booths. Those booths are the translators. This was like the UN. They had English, Korean, and Japanese, and they were all translating, and we all had our headsets, and we had our microphones, and talking there, so that you could interchange with the other organizations and bring up issues. One being the membership and training, for example, came up. We were discussing the home office, who's holding the documents, so we were able to accomplish items like that. I bring this up as we look for 2023, we, the PTG, will be hosting the IAPBT. We have yet to determine what city that's going to be at. It's got to be what we call a Tier 1 city, which is an airport that has the international connections directly to Frankfurt or Japan. And so we'll be determining that. There were classes that were being held during this IAPB convention. They were mostly sponsored by piano manufacturers, and there really wasn't very many. If you as a piano technician went over looking for technical classes, you would have been disappointed. This one, for example, is Bechstein, who was there. So it was 45 minutes about the wonders of the Bechstein and how they build it. And then there was 45 minutes of some voicing that they did. There was, by the way, 800 attendees to this IAPBT. Most of them are sponsored by their country, where they come from. So that's why there was so many of them. Yes. Well, we were talking about the languages because as we look at us hosting and how do the people come over, they didn't have those booths, for example, in these classes. And in this picture with the voicing, the gentleman behind the podium works for Bechstein, and so he's talking, he has both English and German. The gentleman, let's see, on your far left, in the white shirt there, not only did he speak German, and he worked for Bechstein as well, German and English, but he spoke Japanese, so I was just happy to be able to say konnichiwa while we were there. Be able to do all those languages, that was amazing. So he was also translating in Japanese. Then the gentleman next to him was converting from Japanese to Korean. So you would have to say, okay, we're going to take the needles and just go at a 45-degree angle. And then we had to translate to that, and then you had to translate to that. So it didn't really move along that quickly. So this is what I want to show you. The next one coming up in 2 years, in 2021, is in Warsaw, Poland. The folks from Poland put on quite a show, a little presentation. It was almost like the Olympics. When we have the Olympics, you always have the host country coming up next, has a little bit of presentation, and that's what they did. They showed this. So one of the things we're looking at is, for us, PTG, we want to get this information out to our members because this actually will have technical classes. And not only can you go see the home of Chopin, because and see if you have never been over to Europe or Poland, this will give the opportunity to do that. And so we're going to be highlighting that because we want to turn around and then have Europiano Japan emphasize our 2023 convention that we're going to be doing and hosting them because we want all these international members and technicians to come and see us and come to our convention as well. So 2023 is that. Yes? Right, that's what I'm saying. So what Paul was asking me, said this is actually part of Europiano. Again, what I was saying, we have the technical convention, and then this was the hosting there, going with that. So it was great. We were able to meet with the president of Europiano. We had the Australian, like I said, that I think we're getting really close to having a really symbiotic relationship with the audience. And I know that we've talked earlier about our increasing membership, and this is one of the things that if we can get more of an international flavor, in both directions, for those who wish to join the Australians, the Australian coming to us and going from there. So, are there any questions about IAPBT? Look at this. Can you move to Hawaii? Can you move to?
Well, first of all, I want to plug that maybe in 2023, if you want to first hear city with international flights and so forth, Honolulu is a great place to visit. You know.
Do we have director?
How many people want to go to Hawaii for a convention? See, I went last fall when I had my convention there. So, all right. And on a second note, I'm very happy, very proud that 4 years ago, our son and his family lives in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and I Googled piano tuners and found a couple of them. And through the effort of one in particular piano technician, they had a meeting of piano tuners in Malaysia, and about 25 people showed up. And it was the first time ever that the piano tuners in Malaysia got together for a meeting. As a result of that meeting, that first meeting where I gave a couple of classes, they themselves formed themselves as the Malaysian Piano Technicians Guild. And they have been active. So I've been encouraging to also join.
Hi, I'm Jim.
Debbie.
Do you want to bring it?
Well,
That's okay.
you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Debbie from the WTOREO from the Chicago chapter, and I just wondered if there was a website for the Euro piano.
Yes, it is. So it is on the PTG. Thank you for doing that. It's not that obvious where it is on the PTG. Fortunately, Tim's going to come up and straighten me out. But I know we can find it. Barbara's going to help me here. Because I don't think there's, you know what I would like is like a button for that, because we just don't have that. But we are hosting it. It is available. I think you have to type in iabbt.org.
No, there's a link on our website, but there's also Europiano.com. You can go to that, and it brings up the Europiano convention in Poland.
Well, I'm not going to make you come all the way. Hold on a second. I want to get. You want to? You read? So it's right now it's IAPBT.org. We just recently got the domain for .com. Right? No, we didn't. All right, so we're still trying to get the domain for the .com, but there is an IAPBT.org. One of the things, like I said, had you heard of IAPBT before this? Exactly, I hadn't either, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to put this up there, to show what's going on. And so one of the efforts that I'm taking on is I want to get this out to our membership. Where is this? So thank you for asking that. That'll put that on there. Hi.
Yeah, first off, thank you, Jim and Paul, for spearheading this. In the last 10 years, I've been part of the PTG. This is the most effort I've seen on the international front. I'm really thrilled by that, so thank you. A question I have about the 2023 conference relates to translation. I know in St. Louis, I didn't take part in the IAPBT stuff, but I don't know what the acronyms are. IAPBT. There we go. I just heard that there were a lot of translation issues and communication issues. Are we looking into solving that at the 2023? And what kinds of challenges does that produce for the PTG, both from a cost-based perspective and everything else?
Thank you. Dwayne's already got it there. He's got it. Or Patrick, sorry. Yes, the translation. So in San Luis, honestly, we were not as prepared as we could or should have been. And we are definitely going out, so I want to address the first thing. For 2023, I've already been talking to the board and saying, When we do this in 2023 and 2020, we need to start now. That Polish little ad you saw, when they came, they actually had cards made up in all the different languages. They had little gifts that they were going away promoting that. So I want us to be prepared for Warsaw, Poland, for us selling the PTG one coming up and going with that. The translators, you're right, we had translators not in those booths and going with that, although that would be ideal. I actually went and looked and tried to get a cost. What would it do? What would we have to do something like that? And for a day's worth of translators, in three languages, with the headsets and the whole works, will run between $7,000 and $10,000. Now, let me mention, one of the things that offsets that is the fact of the participation that we get from these international countries. So what we're looking is to at least make it cost neutral. The other challenge is, where do you get the translators? The ones I looked at, for example, I just went to one company, they're in Chicago. So, and that would be a tier 1 city that we could do. So if we held it in Chicago, that keeps the price down. But when we do put it finally, Jim, to Waco, Texas, so when we hold it there, it would cost a little bit more to move everything down. So, but we're not looking at, like I said, the ideal is us promoting and getting these internationals from both Europe and Asia, that would ideally be a profit, but certainly be a cost neutral. Even at cost neutral, the benefit we get from the cultural exchange is definitely worth it and for our membership. Any other questions? Thank you very much. I'll take your time.
I'm just was being curious, what exactly goes on if I were to go to this thing? What if they're non-technical classes? What do you do?
Excellent question. So that's what I was saying. If you had gone to the Japan one as a technician and you want to say, oh, I'm going to get the real secrets of Yamaha or Kawai and doing that, it just didn't happen. That was just their culture, if you will, that structure. The one in Europiano is going to be like ours, if you will, in the United States, PTG. It's actually going to be a technical conference. So it is the Europiano convention with all the technical ones. And if you wish to go to the General Assembly and listen to the presidents come up and give a speech, you're welcome to. I will tell you, at the General Assembly, we had maybe 40 people out of the 800 that showed up there. So they were all doing that with that. So in just the Japan one we had, it was the IPBT. It was just really more pomp and circumstance. But the one in Poland is going to be just like ours and going that. So yes.
Europiano.org is the website that will get into the Polish.
Right. She was asking about our own website.
Ours is .org.
So the one that was in St. Louis, did we host that one?
We were, yes.
Okay. But I didn't know, I wasn't sure. And so we're hosting again in 2023, that seems like.
Well, it's, okay, so we're 2019, so 2017 was St. Louis, right? 2019 was Asia. 2021 is Europe. 2023, United States. So every 2 years, we go like that. So 2023 is what we're looking at, and we have to focus on the city so that it makes it easily accessible internationally.
So it just sort of bounces between those three regions then?
That's exactly what it is. So it's United States, 2 years later Asia, 2 years later Europe, 2 years later United States.
Right.
That's right.
And I forgot my other question. Thanks.
Well, you can come back.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Patrick, so you did have tours of factories in Yamamoto?
We did. They did for the international participants such as our, so half a day was at the Kawai and half a day at Yamaha. I can talk a little bit about that, or if you have something.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to really applaud the fact that the board is really, invested in the idea of PTG. It's great. You know, it's been going on since '79, but there have been peaks and valleys in terms of interest. I think it was 2013, Guild was represented in Hangzhou in China, and we managed to have that arranged just before the Chinese version of Nam, which was this massive musical instruments thing going on in Shanghai. So after we met in Hangzhou, and we visited some piano factories around there, then we went to Shanghai and saw some there. Then we went to Beijing and did some tourism things and saw another factory there, which obviously they got quite a few factories. We don't have that many, but if there's any way to integrate that, or to integrate, okay, guys are coming to wherever, but help facilitate them to be able to visit Steinway, Mason and Hamlet would be a wonderful thing. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. We, the Kauai and the Yamaha, as you might guess, they didn't allow us to take pictures. So if we had, I definitely would have say, oh, here's all the robots that are going around. They have the little robots, and they all have their own theme song, by the way, as they were going by. They had different songs. And they actually had railroad signs, so that the robots didn't run into you. So, like that. Yes, sir.
I'm wondering why CAPT is not a member.
Canadian.
Canadian.
Good question.
They can apply.
Is that how it works?
Yes, there is a membership, there is an application, there is a form. Yes.
I remember that in St. Louis, there was a lot of Japanese technicians who came because they were also there to promote the one that they just had. I'm just throwing out that it probably was very difficult for them without a translator to show them around. I might suggest also looking at Salt Lake City. One of the things I've always been impressed with that city is the multicultural, multilingual. There's a lot of people who speak beautiful languages there. And we also have the Mormon tabernacle. We got a special tour of the tabernacle. We had, Rick Balderson had arranged for a tour of Oregon. We met with an Oregon tuner, and so that was kind of interesting. So I'm just putting that out. It may not be, the next thing would be maybe possibly Steinway, maybe we can woo them.
No, we're in the process of trying to figure out what city, and the suggestions are welcome. Thank you very much.
Question and a comment first.
Okay.
What inspired me to this is the question of what do you all do there? And I actually have attended one of these in Australia. And the one thing I remember as far as what we did there was we had a speech by Ron Overs, who many of you may know, is an Australian technician who built his own piano. And it was very opinionated, and I'll leave it at that. But it was good and memorable. My question, I may expose my ignorance here, but as to the translations, is that done by human beings, or is that?
No, that's an excellent question, because I was wondering, how are you going to do this? So you would have a Japanese person speaking, right? And there are 3 different translators up there. You have Japanese, you have a Korean, and then English, if you will. So the Japanese person is changing it to English. And this is within the booth, right?
Is that done by computers, or is that done by a human being?
It's people.
Okay.
It's people. So Chris over here, who speaks fluent Japanese, and she's hearing you speaking in Japanese, so she's, as you're talking, translating it into English. The English person who can speak Korean is then hearing her, so it's going over there to Korean, and, well, here's the English, translated it to Korean. And then if the Korean person speaks back, the Korean translates it to English, and then the English person translates it to Japanese. So of course, we've all played the whisper game.
Yeah.
And when they said, we need training, and by the time it gets to us, it's Wonder Bread is great. So, no, that's it, but you only limited that, but it's, you know, it's not electronic, it's actually humans. But it worked very well with those businesses, I was very impressed with how they did that.
All right, Moon Valley, just an FYI, there is a company in Denver, Colorado that can remotely have translation services almost instantaneous to probably any language you want.
In Great, where?
They're located in Denver, Colorado.
In Denver. All right. We were just getting started on that. Like I said, I just wanted to get an idea of cost to hire services. And so we've got some time to go, but being the international, and I really want whatever city we pick in 2023 to really be a success and show our best face going with that. Any other questions? Oh my goodness. So this was great. I really appreciate you coming up asking questions. It was my own personal knowledge. I had no clue with that, and wanted to go and share this all. And my personal quest is to continue getting this out to the membership and what we're doing there. So thank you very much for your time.
So before we show the election results, many of you in the room that raised your hands that knew what IAPBT was, so you may already know this information, but for those who didn't, I just wanted to point out that IAPBT began with an agreement between the Japanese Piano Technicians Association and PTG in 1979. So we are literally the founding fathers, or at least one of two founding organizations for IAPBT. And it is our fervent hope that going forward, that we can build on a more significant relationship between all the international members, and most especially with regard to piano technology classes being offered in a more significant way. At this time, we're going to have the election results.
120?
So the elections for the Ethics Committee, obviously Doug Kirkwood as the chair, Tim Barnes as vice chair, which means he will be the chair next year, lucky you, Tim. Ricky Close, Larry Messerly, Taylor McKinnon. The first alternate is John Ralinowski, and the second alternate is Paul McLeod. Congratulations, guys. Hopefully you have no work to do. Members' rights. Ashley Turner as the chair, Mike Ello, William Lees, Melanie Crawford as the first alternate, Ed McMorrow as the second, and Richard Bedner as the third. Once again, hopefully you have zero work. Okay, moving on. Nominating committee. Ed Sutton as the chair, Steve Brady, Carl Lieberman, Patrick Drain, Ken Swafford, Bruce Doenfeld as the first alternate, and Jim Geiger as the second. Application review. Norman Cantrell is the chair, Richard Kapp, Michael Kahn, Randy Hansen, first alternate, Mike Karakowski, second alternate, and Larry McDonald, third alternate. And Editor Advisory, Larry Fine is the chair, Melinda Powell, and Larry, is it Lobel or Lobel? I'm not sure. Lobel. So that is the end of the committee elections, I believe, so congratulations to all. May you do a good job for this year.
I would just implore everyone in this room to please report back to your friends in your chapters as to what you experienced here today and yesterday in council, and encourage more of your members to show up at our conventions in the future if they're not already coming starting tomorrow. And at this time,
I'd like to thank all of our tellers out there for compiling all the votes, so on and so forth. And a reminder from the ETS committee, master tunings will be taking place this afternoon, this evening-ish, as well as they are looking for help for the exams going over the course of the week. So the exam office is on the 3rd floor, back in the hotel off the main lobby. There are some signs out in the lobby, so follow those down. They will have sign-up sheets. They help us very greatly appreciate it. So please and thank you.
Master tuning at 1 o'clock.
Master tuning at 1 o'clock. So there's the answer.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I would like officially to make a motion to end this meeting.
we have a second. Chris Brown. Before I slam down the gavel for this meeting, I just wanted to remind everyone that at 7 o'clock this evening, we'll have our opening ceremony for the convention, which will be just on the other side of this air wall, looking to your right, in Tucson F as in Frank. And immediately following that will be the President's Welcome Reception in the Arizona Ballroom foyer. And last but not least, tomorrow at 12 noon, we will have the grand opening of our exhibit hall. Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.